Hello there, it's Graham here, Black73 Cat. Hope you're all well, guys, and welcome back. Just a bit of a bench update today now that the whole Christmas and New Year shenanigans is out of the way. I'll make no secret of the fact that I can't stand Christmas. So now that it's all over, hopefully we can have a, well, I was going to say another year without it, but it'll only be about 10 months before it all starts again, eh? So yeah, just a bit of a bench update. Just Christmas time always brings around a bit of a low mood for me. I've never liked it really since I was a kid. You know, I always get a bit down and a bit depressed, if I'm honest. And the back end of last year, a couple of quite major things happened. Excuse me, I'm drinking my coffee too quick. Which, you know, just sort of added to the whole thing. So it hasn't been a great time for me this year. I've been pretty well down. I've had the old black dog sniffing around a bit. Not wanting to start off on a down and gloomy note. It's actually a positive thing because now that it's all over and it's gone for another while, I started like looking at what was going on. I had to get myself out of the slump, if you know what I mean. So the thing that I always come back to whenever I want to get out of a bit of a depression or control anxiety or whatever is modelling. I've spoken about this many times. Modelling is fantastic. You know, look at Malcolm. Get my finger going the right way. Whoa! Malcolm's charity, Models for Heroes. It just proves how good modelling can be for you know, people with any sort of mental health issues, really. You know, normally I would come in here and I would sit down and do some modelling, and that would help me to sort of get my head straight, lift my mood, you know, bring down any anxiety, whichever way it needs to go. Modelling works. But as a consequence of that, I was sort of coming in here and sitting down at the bench and ignoring the rest of the room, or ignoring the rest of the building. So the rest of it was getting a bit not very good. It was getting a bit messy and just a little bit sort of oppressive, really. It was getting me a bit frustrated, and I've tried a few times in recent months to sort of organise it and get it working a bit better, but it just wasn't working. And then because I've been so focused on just sitting here and modelling or chatting with the guys in the hangout or whatever, the rest of it was getting really, really neglected. And it got to the point where it was feeling oppressive to be in here for me, to be honest. And sometimes I would sit in the house there and I'd be like, I really don't want to go out and face that shed. Do you know, as much as I know for the fact that once I was sitting here, the modelling would be my sort of sanctuary, I just didn't feel up to coming out here and, you know, just feeling the oppression that this place was bringing, which is never what it was intended to do. It was always intended to be my little sort of happy place, if you like, not to coin a snowflake term, but, you know. So I needed to do something about it. It needed fettling. And I sort of came over and I thought, right, where do I start? You know, this is the problem. And I thought a lot of the problem is the lack of space. Now, this is a big building, realistically. For a modelling cave, it's 10 foot by 12 foot. I'm very, very fortunate to have it. So why was I struggling? Why was I feeling claustrophobic in here? And the simple reason was, as lovely as it was, I had to get rid of that sofa. The famous casting couch, it had to go. It was just taking up just too much space, so I couldn't get all my workstations set up as I wanted them. So obviously I've got my main modelling station here, I've got my spray booth down here, and then I've also got the photo booth, the big photo tent with all the sort of, I say studio, they are technically studio lamps, but nothing flashy. But that's all set up over there. Now, that's one of these photo tent things. Now, if you ever try to put one of those things away, they're a nightmare. They pop up, you know, like the pop-up tents you buy. They pop up like one of those, but trying to fold it and get it back in one of the bags is just a nightmare. And you've got to get the, you know, the backdrop in there and the lights set up and everything else. So if it's not set up all the time, I won't use it. Quite simple. I just won't use it because I just can't be bothered to get it all out and faff around all the time. So I need to leave it out permanently. But with having this sofa in here, there was nowhere I could put it, that particular workbench, where I could fit the tripod in or get a chair in front of it comfortably so I could get in there to take properly, you know, composed photographs and stuff. And it was just getting frustrating. It really was. So I thought, you know what, I'm just gonna have to. I mean, the sofa was given to me by a neighbour. It didn't owe me anything. She just was chucking it out. It was in damn good nick, really. And she said, look, do you want this for now, for your shed? So I've done the decent thing and I've passed that on to somebody else. Didn't charge anything for it. Gave it away for free. And it's just opened up the space again massively. Just, ooh, it just feels so welcoming in here again. And I've managed to get the workbenches back to where I wanted them along the sides. I've got a photo tent set up there. I can get the tripod in front of it, or I can get a chair in front of it, or whatever. And if I need a second workstation, if anybody wants to come around and join me for a day's modelling or whatever, I can just pack the tent away and yeah, maybe might just throw it in the corner, and there's a spare workstation there for somebody else to use should they need to, or one of my kids or whatever, So it works. The space is back to being a working space, and I tell you what, just getting rid of the sofa, moving stuff around a bit, rerunning a few cables and things like that, and just reorganising stuff has just lifted the mood so much. It's just picked me right back up to the top, and I'm so happy. Now, the other thing that was bothering me was the lighting in here. It was getting to be really frustrating. As much as the rest of the building, the rest of the room was getting a bit sort of cluttered and a bit sort of untidy, I always try and keep my workspace tidy, because that's the most important thing. That big blue cutting mat behind me is the most important part of this building, ultimately, because that's where I sit, that's where I am. So as long as that's clear and tidy, I'm okay, as long as I've got to be back to the rest of it. But as much as I was trying to keep that clean and tidy, it wasn't really working because of the way that I had the lighting set up. Now, I did have one of the original, which you can just see here, the original Chesto triple tube daylight lamps. These are great, really good, but just not quite bright enough for what I needed to do, especially in here, because there's no sort of ceiling lights, no ambient light or anything like that. So I had these. I must stop drinking this coffee so fast. I've got the Chesto light, which wouldn't, for some reason, I couldn't get it to clamp to the back of the bench and move to where I wanted it. So I ended up having to have that clamped behind where I'm sitting now to the front of the bench. So essentially that was always at my right elbow, the clamp and the post. And then to give that light a bit of help, because it's only 14 watts, and as much as the light is good, in this sort of environment, it wasn't quite bright enough. So what I was having to do was get some of these two of these IKEA work lamps mounted either side of my bench, screwed to the wall, and have those coming in either side. So I've got the actual shade of the lamp and the arms and stuff all hanging over the bench as well. Then I've got the arm for my studio mic coming over here. Then I've got the arm for my webcam hanging down here. So it felt like I was in sort of like some kind of robot factory nightmare. I was just surrounded by all this mechanical stuff. And it was just starting to get a bit frustrating. And then a few months ago, Paul picked up one of these new Chesto lights, or they're branded as Lightcraft in the UK, which is an LED one, whereas the original one was just fluorescent tubes. So this one's LED, it's 21 watts, so it's more powerful, but it also just gives out a wider flood of light. It really throws out a hell of a lot more light over a hell of a lot bigger area. The other advantage being that I've noticed that the tubes, the light coming off there is supposed to be daylight temperature, but over time, fluorescent tubes, they do fade, they do change their colour slightly. So I don't think that that's daylight anymore. And now I've compared the two, I would say that's slightly off. Not much, but I don't think it's as clear as this one, when it comes to colour rendition and stuff. So I've sort of relegated that to the paint booth, because as daft as it sounds, the colour rendition isn't quite as important in the spray booth, because I've already picked the colour. I know what the colour is because I've seen it, and I know what I'm spraying. I just need to get the coverage right. So if it's slightly off with the colour temperature, it doesn't really matter, because the paint's going down anyway regardless. So anyway, I sort of looked at what Paul's light was doing, the new light, how it was working on his bench, and I thought, you know what, that's what I need to do. However, there's a problem. They ain't cheap. I mean, the original one isn't cheap. You can get those if you look around in the UK. You can get them on CBC Farnell's website on offer for about 60 quid. Is about the cheapest you're going to find them anywhere. This one, 90 quid I paid for that off of Amazon. It's not cheap at all, but it's so good. So bright, so clear, it's dimmable. You can go switch it down to half power. It doesn't get as hot as this other one does, and it just throws this huge pool of light across the workbench, which has meant that I can get rid of all the robot arms. Well, the two lamps anyway, they've gone. The arm is a little bit better, so I've managed to mount this one at the back of my bench, so that's no longer at my right elbow. So this whole space is just an awful lot more clear than it was, which is fantastic. It's just made such a difference. And then combining that with because with moving those lamps, I've sort of screwed them both to the wall, as you can see now. So I can still use them for extra lighting should I need to, but they're not sort of hanging down over my bench anymore. I don't need them sort of, you know, crowding my workspace anymore. So, you know, it's all worked well, but I had to reroute all the cabling, and to do that I had to rejig all the extension leads and stuff that I've got running around in here. And then my blue LEDs, which you might be able to see, glowing behind me there. I've got a strip of it, you know, I've got a big 5 metre strip of colour changing LEDs. And I've had them in various places around the building. And they've never really worked right. So I've got down and got behind the workbench, and I've now fixed it all along the back of this workbench, up the side and around the corner. So it just gives a nice bit of ambient sort of mood lighting in the background, which is quite nice. Shifted the display cabinet away. The whole place is just back to that welcoming, open, airy, inviting, happy place to be, and it's been well worth it. It took me 2 or 3 days of messing around to do it, but I'm so glad it's done, and it's made a massive difference. Now then, I'll put some pictures of this on my Facebook page. I was going to do a pan round with a camera, but rather than doing a shaky camera, go to my Facebook page. I'll put a link in the description below. Black73 Cat Scale Models on Facebook. I've also put the pictures on Instagram. I think Black73 Cat _models, possibly something like that. You'll find me. And the response I've had is overwhelming. It's bonkers. I usually, when I put something on my Facebook page or my YouTube channel, I usually share it to a load of groups on Facebook. But this one I haven't yet. I've shared it to 2 groups, I think, possibly 3. And I'm still answering replies now. I'm still replying to comments now. I've had so many comments on either on the actual post on my Facebook page itself or on the groups where I've posted it. People are just constantly commenting. I'm getting comments and likes and stuff on my Instagram page. And it always happens whenever I talk about mental health. And there's quite a long write-up in there and lots of photographs of the workshop and what I've done. But whenever I start talking about mental health, so many people come out and they're like, I model for this purpose too. It really helps me get through too. And I've got these kind of problems, and I've got this issue, and I've got that. And so many people come out and say, "Oh, it's really good to hear you talking about this openly." I firmly believe that it needs to be talked about openly. I've said this many times, but it's really, really, really heartwarming to see that lots of people, when they're given the opportunity or given the prompt, will just come out and say, "This is me as well. I've got these problems. And modeling's really helping me." And I can't say how much I firmly believe that modelling just helps so much with any sort of mental health problem, as you know, as Malcolm's organisation will stand testament to. So yeah, just wanted to say thank you to all the people who've responded to me on Facebook and stuff. Really, really, really amazing. I do love the interaction. It does take me a bit of a while to get through and answer all the reply to all the comments, but I will try and get through to everybody. And I've had no negatives. I've had no negatives at all. No negatives, no jealousy. I think I had one bloke yesterday saying something about, I don't know, I don't actually know what he meant, but I think he was being sarcastic about my paint rack, my paint collection. Well, that's not very big. I think he was basically saying I had too many paints, but you can never have too many paints, can you? But no negatives at all positives, which is just fantastic. And it's really good to see that there are, other people out there who are in a similar sort of situation and use this for the same purpose. So it's all good. And I just want to say thank you to everybody. So I'll put links to my Facebook page and my Instagram down below. I'm on Twitter as well, Black73Cat, but I don't use Twitter very much. But yeah, pop along to my Facebook page, hit the like button on there, and I do try to post some stuff up on there as often as I can. And obviously come and see us on ISM, International Scale Modeller, and join us for the Friday live show. It is Friday the 11th of January today. So yeah, tonight we will be doing a live show, 7:30 UK time on the International Scale Modeller YouTube channel. All kinds of shenanigans going on there, lots of giggles, lots of laughs, some giveaways and all that kind of stuff. So come along and join us. Other than that, other than the shed revamp, what else have I been doing? I've been working on the King Tiger, which is, again, I'll put some pictures of this up on my Facebook page probably today, maybe tomorrow. I've just started weathering it. It was dull coated yesterday, and I'm started weathering it now. So not much done in the way. I've done some initial chipping and stuff before the dull coat came on. It's very dark, as you can see. This top half, the camera's coming very dark, which I'm quite happy with, but I just wanted to brighten it up a little bit, so I've gone along these fenders just to see what it looked like with some light dust pigment, just to kind of brighten it up a little bit. And I think I'm going to now continue with that all the way over it, and do some work with some oils and stuff just to lighten it up a little bit. And I've got the exhausts initially painted. If the camera will focus on those. Initially painted with a little bit of AK crusted rust and some AK rust pigment on there. We're getting there. Tracks are ready to go on. So yeah, it's almost finished. I'll get some pictures of that up on my Facebook page as well, and also obviously on ISM. So hopefully that'll be finished in a couple of days, maybe a week at the most. And then my next build is going to be it's going to be one for my little boy, because he's been bugging me for ages. My very good friend Mr. Sam McCord, who you'll know from the Friday live shows, sent me a Revel Volkswagen bus, but it was the T1 van, the Jägermeister one, lovely looking thing in green. And he sent me that. He said, well, you know, do you want it? Because I'm never going to build it. So thank you very much. So he sent me it. And then when I got it, my little boy spotted it. Well, he's mad on Volkswagens. And he said, oh, can you build it? Can you build it? And can I have it in my room? Or will you paint it blue? And I thought, oh, well, you know. And I said, all right, go on then. Yeah, I'll do it. And so I mentioned it to Sam that you know, I was going to paint it blue for the little one. Sam says, don't do that. 3 days later, a Revel Samba bus turned up, and there you go, you can build that for him. So that's going to be my next build, the 24 scale T1 Samba bus from Revel, and that's going to be done in Tamiya TS10 on the bottom half, and just slightly off white on the top half. I've got to kind of work out how to do that yet, but yes, he wants it two-tone blue and white. God, blue's his favourite colour. He's only 6, bless him. So hopefully I can do a good job of that for him. So that's going to be my next build. And then after that, I'm getting the yearning to go back to an aircraft, and I'm eyeing up my Hasegawa A6M70 that was given to me, bought for me by the ISM birthday crowd last year. I really fancy doing a Zero, and I've also got the Hasegawa FW190 as well, the D9, which I kind of fancy as well. So, but I think I'm going to go for the Zero, because, yeah, just because. You know what? I'm looking up there now, and I've got so many things that I want to build. I'm going to have a bit of a clear out. Actually, I'm going to sell a few things off that I'm never going to build, such as that Edward P40 Warhawk. I'm never going to build it. Never going to build it. I've even taken the artwork down. It's still in the frame there. I can roll that back up and put it in the thing. The tin plate's still in its wrapper. I'm going to sell it. It's good. I'll never build that. I'm damn sure I'll never build it. So yeah, I'm gonna move that onto pastures new. So there you go. Anyway, I'm waffling now. I'm just droning on. So yeah, I just want to say thank you to everybody who's commented and liked and responded to my Facebook posts. Come and have a look at my page over there. This video will be posted on that page as well before long. Yeah, hit the like button, subscribe if you want to, and hopefully I'll be back soon. I'm going to try and do a tutorial. If the previous video I did was a tutorial about how I create moss on scale models using the UMP algae wash dried out. I've done the same thing with the some of the UMP rust wash. It's in there. It's all evaporated. It hasn't been broken up yet, but that's ready to go. I need to do a bit more experiment, a bit more playing around to see how that's going to work. But hopefully, probably early next week, I'll try and get back with another video with a tutorial about how to create rust effects. So yeah, all well and good. Thanks so much for watching, guys. Hopefully see you tonight at the live show. Thanks for all your responses, and as always, thanks for your support, and happy days. See you later, guys. Thanks a lot. Take care now. Bye-bye.